Hey guys, thank you all for coming. This is a World of Warships replay that I want to show you guys. It's going to be part of my how to team play in World of Warships, and we're going to be highlighting a cruiser replay that I did a little while ago. It's in my tier 10 Hindenburg. Now, I'm pretty excited to show this to you guys because there was a lot of good team play in this match. It showed people in their ships doing their jobs. So you see the battleships doing their jobs, you see the destroyers doing their jobs, you even see the aircraft carrier doing its job and helping out. So I was really excited to see that because one, there's an aircraft carrier, which I haven't really seen a lot in tier 10, and it was a really good team play. But another reason I want to show it to you guys is because it's a good highlight of when you're doing your job despite things going wrong. Early on in the match, the flank that I'm with, we hit significant resistance and things start falling apart, and despite all that, with us doing our jobs, we're able to scratch out a win almost by the skin of our teeth. I'm not showing this replay just to sing my praises. I think everyone did their job, and it's just by dumb luck that I was able to just barely survive. So let's hop right in and get on with the replay. So here we are. On my flank, we have this destroyer.
Action stations.
We have these two destroyers and Frederick the Great right behind me. And we jump in. And right now, people are already asking for plans. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? That's important. Communication is key in trying to get a win out of any match. Now, I'm looking around, I'm watching, and I've noticed that our one destroyer is headed for B, and our Lo Yang is headed to A. And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But I also noticed that it looks like it's just me and the Frederick the Great right behind us. So we are on the lighter flank, but that's all right. I signaled to my team that I'm going to be right in the middle area between A and B. At tier 10, especially with, the larger cruisers, not necessarily the Royal Navy cruisers, but everyone else, you're too large to be just jumping into a uncontested cap by yourself without support this early in the game. So I don't want to go putting myself in danger too quickly, but I am keeping an eye on both of our destroyers and trying to see who needs support first. It's not easy,
Enemy force detected.
but I'm going to try to attempt to do it. And here's when I notice that I get detected, and I do not like that. It also tells me that there is an enemy destroyer in the area, because if you look at my detection radius, there's no other enemy ship. So that means something can see me, but I can't see them, and it has to be a destroyer. So I immediately start taking evasive maneuvers. I see that there's shots incoming. I'm trying to get into the cover of these islands without running aground. I almost do that. I also notice that our B cap circle seems to be doing alright, so I focus my attention on A. Shots out. Get really close. Open firing on that Bismarck. You'll notice that I'm using high explosive rounds. At these ranges, even the German armor-piercing rounds aren't the best. And all I'm really doing is looking to cause fire. Fires over time will do more damage than just spamming armor-piercing rounds, at least in my experience. If there's a way to keep spamming it at these ranges without being able to take your attention off of the stuff going around you, I haven't mastered that yet. So we got B, but I'm looking and I've noticed that our A flank just went down. There's nothing wrong with what the Lo Yang did. It did its job. It fought to hold A and it just could not. So now it's up to me and the Frederick the Great to do our job and to make them pay for every inch of ground that they take. Now I'm keeping my eyes out. I'm keeping the guns turning. I'm looking around with my camera. And I know that I am outnumbered One, because just the simple fact that we've lost more ships than them, and there are 2 destroyers over at A, 2 battleships, and who knows how many other cruisers out there. So now, the Frederick the Great and I, we know we have to fight a delaying action, and we have a destroyer coming to our aid, keeping his eyes open, which is good. Now, I don't know where the destroyers are, but I'm going to go find this little island here just to take some cover and take some cheeky shots at the Bismarck. It's okay to camp a little bit, especially in a delaying action. If you can do that in relative safety, go ahead and do that. That's great, but you're going to see in a couple minutes that I'm not going to get too comfortable. Once I notice that, once I'm starting to realize that I haven't really seen those destroyers, those cruisers have been really quiet, I'm going to book it and leave. Frederick the Great, he's also there to back me up, providing fire when he can, but it's up to me to keep the fire going as long as possible. And as you can see, he's taking shots himself. And it's at this point that I think, well, you know what, it's time to get out of here. They're getting too close, and I'm not able to send down effective fire down there. And without a moment to lose, that's when I notice the cruisers have come. So we're in a bad situation now. We're 4 in the hole, and we've only taken out 2 enemy ships. At this point in the match, I probably haven't noticed that. I really haven't. I'm mostly keeping track of trying to do as much damage as I possibly can without getting sunk myself. And that's why I keep firing high explosive shells, because I don't have the time to line up perfect armored piercing shots. It's just better that I just keep spamming the fires, keep spamming high explosive shells, let the fire, the damage over time of fires do what I can't do. So I donk some shots there. I'm kind of desperate at this point, because we are just outnumbered. There's at least 4, maybe 6 ships out there, and I can't account for them. There's definitely 2 battleships that I do not like pointing their guns at me. And as you can see with my captain's perk, I'm getting anywhere between 1 to 3, sometimes 5 people all aimed at me, which is not bad for a delaying action, but the Hindenburg is not a very durable ship when it's being focus fired. So we've kind of brought the scores back up, and as you can see, I am not letting my guns fall silent. I'm always trying to shoot at something. A destroyer popped up. I want to take him out as soon as possible, because it's up to cruisers to take out the destroyers. And at that point, I've gotten a little. You probably saw that on the aiming reticle. I thought he was backing up because I was just so adrenaline hyped. So here I am trying to put shots into him. He's getting focus fired, which is good, but we really need to get him down. Now, that was me taking control of the camera. I did not realize
Enemy destroyer sunk.
when I was doing this match, I was not keeping track of the Frederick the Great. He was just there. I was just seeing him on the minimap. I did not see how much health he had. And you just can't really do that. You can only really check and see if you have your allies there. When you're trying to fight a delaying action and, you know, put fire on these ships, you really have to be focusing on just dishing out as much damage as possible. Even if you're losing, always try to do as much damage as possible, because even if it looks like your flank is falling, even if it looks like from your perspective that you're losing, just keep trying to do as much damage as possible, if only for your own personal score. Now, we're outnumbered, we're running, but we're still doing our job. We're buying time for our flank, we're keeping them at bay, we're dealing damage, and more importantly, we're buying time for our aircraft carrier so he can get away, so he can do his job. And it's paid off, because while I didn't notice it at the time, our aircraft carrier has scrambled fighters to help us out. So that's when I noticed that this Bismarck is giving us broadside, and I try to open up fire. Over penetration, not the best, but you know, I did what I could. I had that second to notice it. Arm the high explosives again, because I want to get that Bismarck sunk, but he gets out of range just in a nick of time. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And that's when I hear that explosion, and I immediately was extremely concerned. I'm like, okay, this is it, because our Frederick the Great, he did what he could, but he got focus fired down, doing his job as a battleship, but he's sunk and he's been focus fired down. So I know that I'm in trouble, because now all of those ships out there are pointing their guns at me. So I was not really happy at this point. Not that I was mad at the Frederick, he did his job. I was just not happy to be focus fired. And you can probably tell with the way I'm just switching my camera around, I'm kind of panicking at this point, which is not a good thing to do. Again, I'm trying to do as much damage as I possibly can before I get sunk. And because I was assuming to just sink at any minute now, and it's kind of affecting my aim at this point. I'm still running, and I am not really happy. I can probably hear my heart beating in my head at this point. Again, you've probably noticed I have not fired a lot of armor-piercing rounds this whole time. I've just been shooting high explosive shells, even though they're not really good on the German cruisers. Another thing to notice, I don't know if you noticed it, but I am swinging my ship as much as I can. Look at those zigzags in the water. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to swing the rudder too hard, but just a couple seconds left and right, if only so that the rudder shift time isn't too hard on you. But keep swinging your cruiser, especially in a delaying action. Swing your cruiser left and right, just to throw off their aim and keep them guessing. Now, this is when I made a really bad mistake. I put myself broadside to a Tirpitz. Now, thankfully, our aircraft carrier was able to knock out those two cruisers. Me, I had just taken a hefty broadside. I noticed that Tirpitz is right there, and I don't like it. So I send off a couple armor-piercing rounds in his direction. Send off some high explosive shells now, and that's when I noticed he's actually at a far distance. So I try to swing around again because I don't want to keep showing a flat broadside to him. I want to have some angle just to buy me some survivability. But I'm also trying to keep all my guns pointed at him just to start some more fires. And honestly, if I had not been firing high explosives, I mean, just look right now. I've caused 11 fires and only done 86k damage. The enemy are going to put their fires out. You have to expect that. But you will still have done more damage when you're panicking, when you don't have time to aim. You will still have caused more damage by starting fires than you would have trying to aim like perfectly well shot, well angled armor piercing rounds. At least when it comes time with German heavy cruisers. I don't know. I can't speak much for the other cruisers. But, okay, so now we're in late game. I have not noticed that we are winning. I am still in full panic mode. But I do know it's just me and that Tirpitz. I don't even know what happened to the other cruisers. I didn't realize that that our aircraft carrier had helped me out and sunk them. All I had registered is just me and this Tirpitz, and I am feeling, this is the first time in a whole match that I'm feeling a little bit better. He's broadside to me, I am bow on. I know that at this point, I kind of have an advantage. If anything, we are at even ground. And as long as he keeps showing that broadside to me, I'm gonna punish him. Finally, you're able to use my armor-piercing rounds like I've been wanting to all match. Gonna get noisy. Alright, so just to back up a little bit, I knew the Turpitz has torpedoes, and when I had moved in bow in just to close in the distance and, you know, just punish him, I turned on my hydroacoustic search just so that I could have the most advanced warning for when the torpedoes would be launched, so that I can have the most time to anticipate. So this is the first time I let out a big long breath in the whole match. This is the first time things have calmed down and I'm able to take stock of the situation. Because we've blown out so many ships, our aircraft carriers now, he's just acting with impunity. He's been able to conserve his bombers and do his job. Meanwhile, we have one battleship they've swung around. He's managed to survive. He's done his job. He's trying to move in and do what he can. Meanwhile, our last surviving destroyer, he's going into cap. This is what you do in late game. Try to get damage control if you possibly can. And as you can see, I'm communicating with the team. What should I do? Go kill the carrier or go for B? I'm told to go cap. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go cap. And we notice that the enemy destroyer is capping C. I say that I'm going to go B, but watch. Well, I'm already pointing my guns at that enemy Benson. I can go to B and still try to put some fire out if he's being a bugger, and that's when I'm told to go and kill him. All right. If we kill him, we get points, and that'll certainly help. And I'm being told to go kill him. So I'm moving for the kill. And our carrier, he's keeping him on his toes this whole time, but I've seen enough carriers and destroyers. I've seen enough destroyers avoid torpedo bombers that I don't want to take the chance. I don't want to risk it. So I'm going to go to C, because even if he destroys that destroyer, we'll get C back. No loss there. But if he misses, I need to be there in order to take out that destroyer. But he hit him, so I kind of went all this way for nothing. But it's alright. It's alright. We have 2 caps. We have only 1 enemy carrier left. And I was kind of there just to, put some fire on those fighters. Even though I don't think I take a fighter out or anything.
Torpedoes direct front.
So, at this point, we've won this match at this point. The enemy carrier, he doesn't really have much he's left for him to do. He doesn't have a lot of options left. He's surrounded, he's spotted, we're moving in for the kill. So, yeah, that was a match. It was really tight. Really adrenaline fueled the whole time. I got excited just simply watching it again. You probably could tell in my tone of voice. So, some things to recap about Cruiser Teamplay in World of Warships. Be there, support your battleships. That Frederick the Great probably wouldn't have lasted as long as he did without my support and without, the destroyers to back him up. Watch for your destroyers and watch for the enemy destroyers, because as a cruiser, you are better able and better equipped to handle enemy destroyers than your friendly battleships, especially at the longer ranges. Your guns reload faster, and you're more maneuverable than the enemy battleships. When your line collapses, fall back. Don't be suicidal. Keep an eye on the mini-map. When you notice that you're outnumbered, it's okay to fall back, especially if you've taken at least 1 cap circle. Because now the enemy has to take that cap circle. You have it. And even if they contest it, if you are able to fight them off that circle, you keep that cap circle. So destroyers, go out, capture that circles. Cruisers, back them up. when things go wrong and you need to fall back, keep those guns firing. If you're a battleship, it might be alright to fire armor piercing, but especially for cruisers, with the smaller rounds, and with your smaller round, you should be firing high explosive shells just to start those fires and make them burn for every inch of ground that they take. So that's my points. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching, and I will be sure to upload more on how to World of Warships.